Hello children, in our lesson today we are going to use all our learning about our times tables this week to answer some one-step multiplication problems. But before we do that, I want us to practice our times tables. We can use our hands to help us. We're going to practice our 2, our 5 and our 10 times table. Do you remember how we used our hands to help us? Let's start with our 2 times table. 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 2 is 6, 4 times 2 is 8, 5 times 2 is 10, 6 times 2 is 12, 7 times 2 is 14, 8 times 2 is 16, 9 times 2 is 18, 10 times 2 is 20, 11 times 2 is 22, 12 times 2 is 24. It's really important that you go up to 24, children, because when we're using our times tables, we go up to 12 times 2, or 12 times any of our numbers in our times tables. So I would like you to pause the video now and say your 2 times table several times. When you've done that, I want you to practice your 5 times table. Are we ready? Using the same way, the same strategy with our fingers. Are we ready? 1 times 5 is 5, 2 times 5 is 10, 3 times 5 is 15, 4 times 5 is 20, 5 times 5 is 25, 6 times 5 is 30, 7 times 5 is 35, 8 times 5 is 40, 9 times 5 is 45, 10 times 5 is 50, 11 times 5 is 55, 12 times 5 is 60. Again, pause the video and practice your 5 times table several times. Now you've done that, we're going to practice our 10 times table. We're going to use exactly the same method. 1 times 10 is 10, 2 times 10 is 20, 3 times 10 is 30, 4 times 10 is 40, 5 times 10 is 50, 6 times 10 is 60, 7 times 10 is 70, 8 times 10 is 80, 9 times 10 is 90, 10 times 10 is 100, 11 times 10 is 110, 12 times 10 is 120. Pause the video here, children, and practice. Now, children, just before we move on to our next element in our lesson, let's just practice writing the 110 and the 120. I know this can sometimes cause a few problems. So, 11 times 10 is 110, and 12 times 10 is 120. Can you see here, children, that our hundreds numbers have 3 digits? Sometimes children write 110 like that, or even like that. Neither of those numbers are correct. 110 has 3 digits. Any number in the hundreds has 3 digits. Now we're ready to look at this question here, children. This is the question that has been on our slide since the start of the lesson, and this is the main point of our lesson. It's a word problem. It says in your PDF file that Jack's pet lizard eats 2 worms a day. How many worms will he eat in 1 week? So we've got 2 worms a day. How many will he eat in 1 week? So we've got to work out how to do this. We need to think very carefully, what do we know? So what are the important parts of our question? So let's put a circle around our numbers. So we've got 2 worms and we've got 1 week. I wonder how many days there are. Gosh, my pen's not working. How many days there are in 1 week? So let's have a little look. 1 week. So I've got 2 worms and I know that there are 7 days in 1 week. So let's just bear that in mind as we are moving through the problem. So, okay, so a week, 7 days long. So it's 2 worms a day. So that's going to be 7 lots of 2. 7 lots of 2. To solve this, I could draw a picture. I could draw an array. So I'm going to draw an array. Let's draw 7 lots of 2. I'm going to do it over here. That's 1 lot of 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 lots of 2 in my array. I know that 7 lots of 2 can be written as 7 times 2. I know that 7 times 2 is 14, but let's just check. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. 7 times 2 is 14. So Jack's worm eats 14 worms in 1 week. So let's have a look at another question. And this question makes me think of my Joe when he was little, building towers of Lego. So Peter built a tower which is 10 centimetres tall. Joe's tower is 5 times taller. How tall is Joe's tower? So, some important numbers. We need to make sure that we know what they are. So we've got 10 centimetres and we've got a 5 times taller. So 5. I wonder how I could work this out. So, I want you to get a picture in your head. We have one tower. It's 10 centimetres tall. And the other tower is a taller tower. I need to work out a number that is 5 times bigger than 10 centimetres if I'm going to find out how tall Joe's tower is. 5 times bigger than 10, 5 lots of 10. So I can write 5 times 10 and I could draw an array. Or I could draw pictures, or I could use my multiplication because I know that 5 times 10 is 50. Let's do it on our fingers. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. 1 times 10 is 10. 2 times 10 is 20. 3 times 10 is 30. 4 times 10 is 40. 5 times 10 is 50. So 5 times 10 is 50. So I think that Joe's tower is 50 centimetres tall. So let's look at another problem. This is a problem about eggs. So there are 5 eggs in a box, and I want to know how many eggs there are in 7 boxes. Let's find the important numbers. I've got 5 and I've got 7. So I've got 5 eggs in a box, 5 eggs in each box and 7 boxes. I could draw a picture. So let's draw a picture of this one. So I've got 7 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I've got 5 eggs in each box. Okay, that's 7 lots of 5. Which I know I can write as 7 times 5. I can count in 5s, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Or if I knew my times tables off by heart, I could have done that without having to count. I could have done this on a number line. I could have made 7 jumps on my number line where each jump was worth 5. So I could have started my number line at 0. I could have jumped up 5, so that's 1 jump. Made a second jump to 10. Third jump gets me to 15. Fourth jump gets me to 20. Fifth jump gets me to 25. Sixth jump gets me to 30. And a 7th jump gets me to 35. So I've made 7 jumps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 jumps of 5 is 35. Whichever way I do it, I get the same answer. Now children, I want you to have a go at the question that is on the PDF file, which talks about 12 children at a party and they eat 2 cakes each. So how many cakes are eaten altogether? I want you to put circles around the important numbers and talk to your grown-up about how you're going to solve this. And I'll come back in a moment and explain how we do this. So children, did you spot that the important numbers were 12, put a circle around it, and 2? So there were 12 children at the party, 2 cakes each. That's 12 lots of 2. So let's write that there. 12 lots of 2. I know that 12 lots of 2 is the same as 12 times 2. And that equals, I can use my 2 times table, 12 lots of 2 is 24. If I'm not sure, I could draw an array. I could do it on a number line, or I could just use my fingers. I could count in twos. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. I could say it as a times table. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 2 is 8. 5 times 2 is 10. 6 times 2 is 12. 7 times 2 is 14. 8 times 2 is 16. 9 times 2 is 18. 10 times 2 is 20. 11 times 2 is 22. 12 times 2 is 24. Whichever way I do it, I'm going to get the answer of 24. So now, children, there are some independent tasks that I want to have a go. They're all going to involve your 2, your 5, or your 10 times table. As you solve them, I wonder if you could write a word sentence to explain your answer, and I'll show you what I mean in a moment, as well as showing the number sentence, that's the answer, and the commutative number sentence, that's the one where we switch the numbers around. So let's look at this example so you can see what I mean. I have 4 bags of sweets. There are 5 sweets in each bag. How many sweets do I have altogether? So, important numbers, 4 and 5. So I have got 4 bags with 5 sweets in. That's 4 lots of 5s. That's 4 times 5. Okay, I can solve that in lots and lots of ways. I can count in 5s. If I know my times table, I can pull out the answer. That is 4 times 5 is 20. I could draw an array. I could do this on a number line. I could draw a picture. Let's do 4 times 5. Let's use our fingers because they're handy. And we're going to count 4 lots of 5. 5, 10, 15, 20. 1 times 5 is 5. 2 times 5 is 10. 3 times 5 is 15. 4 times 5 is 20. Okay, so I've written my number sentence. I'm now going to write a word sentence. I have 20 sweets all together. I can use the words from the question to help my spelling, and I have to remember a capital letter and a full stop. And then I'm going to switch my numbers around and write the commutative sentence. So I'm going to write 5 times 4 equals 20. I'd like you to practice answering your questions in that way. A little bit more work, but it kind of helps to consolidate what you're doing when you're answering word problems. I know you can do this year too, because you have been amazing this week. Your knowledge of your times tables is brilliant, and I can't wait to see where we go next with all our work on multiplication. It is really important, children, that even after this lesson, you keep on practicing your times tables. You must do it every day. Say them over and over and over again. That is the best way to learn them. And then, as I mentioned yesterday, get your grown-up or your brother and sister to test you by shouting out random times tables like, tell me the answer to 6 times 10, or tell me the answer to 9 times 5, and see how quickly you can answer. It's really important that you learn to answer your times tables questions really quickly, out of order. But start by learning them in order. Have a great lesson, children. I know that you're going to be brilliant. Can't wait to see your work. So please send lots of photos. See you tomorrow. Bye.